Hey, how's it going? Hey, Nick Digilio here. How are you? Hey, thanks for checking out my YouTube channel. All of the videos are free. Please subscribe. Mostly daily videos and all that cool stuff. And also check me out on Patreon. It'd be a great way to help out. You can donate some dough, pick a tier, donate. And it will help me keep these DIY projects going. So please donate today. It helps. Patreon.com/NickDShow. Patreon.com/NickDShow. Also check out my podcast, the Nick D Podcast, part of the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. That's separate from these videos and DIY stuff that I do. That's free. Check it out. Wherever you get your podcast, subscribe, and there you go. I cut a video yesterday about, I talked about William Hurt passing away the other day, and now a legendary professional wrestler, Scott Hall, passed away. He was 63 years old. Like so many other professional wrestlers, he died young. But Scott Hall was a legend. He was a legend in modern professional wrestling. He had a rough go of it. He had substance abuse issues. He was an addict. Was addicted to booze and pills, and being in the wrestling business, there's all kinds of access to drugs and things like that. But he was an amazing wrestler who was fantastic on the mic. I'm a big pro wrestling fan. I've been a wrestling fan my whole life. Been watching wrestling since I was a little kid. I love it. I make no apologies for it. I fucking love wrestling. Always will. And I think that they're great entertainers. They're great athletes. They put their bodies on the line every night. And Scott Hall was one of these guys that was a pro all the way around. The skills that you have to be a professional wrestler, to be a successful professional wrestler, you got to be able to be athletic. You got to be able to move. You got to be able to convincingly do a match. You got to be great in the ring and great on the mic, and come up with a good character or a good personality, or be able to talk and be able to do that. Scott Hall could do all of those things. He was fantastic in the ring. He was a great worker. He worked with people and for people. He put people over, which means he made other wrestlers look good. And he was great on the mic. He was known for a good portion of his career in the 90s, the early 90s in WWE, as Razor Ramon, who was the bad guy. And he did kind of a Tony Montana accent. And it was a great character, and he flourished beautifully in WWE, was tremendous in the ring. He was part of the first ladder match, a legendary ladder match that took place at WrestleMania in 1995. It was between him and Shawn Michaels, and he won the belt. Intercontinental champion many times at WWE, and had an incredible run in WWE as Razor Ramon. In 1996, he moved over to WCW, and this was at the time when WWE and WCW had the Monday Night Wars, when they were clashing, and Eric Bischoff took over WCW on Ted Turner's network, and they became real competition for WWF at that time. And there was no competition at that time. I mean, like in the 80s, Hulk Hogan, all of that, when you think wrestling, you think Vince McMahon, you think WWF. Well, along comes WCW, and they challenged the crown, and in many ways superseded it and became better, which is basically what's happening right now with AEW. AEW wrestling right now is 50,000 times better than WWE. AEW wrestling, if you want to watch really great pro wrestling with terrific matches and great storylines and great characters and terrific wrestlers and a roster that is unbelievable, you need to watch AEW because WWE sucks in comparison. Like, it's a joke at this point. A joke. Listen, when your WrestleMania includes main event matches with Pat McAfee, who's like the worst announcer in the history of professional wrestling, he's wrestling, and Logan Paul, this is what you're programming on your WrestleMania, the biggest event of the year. Meanwhile, AEW just had a pay-per-view called Revolution, which was 5 hours long, and it ruled, and there wasn't a bad match in it. AEW is by far the better product. It's not even close. By far the better product than WWE. WWE sucks. And that kind of competition hasn't happened since WCW. And when Scott Hall moved over to WCW, he was part of the biggest revolution, in one of the biggest revolutions in the history of wrestling, the NWO. That was when wrestling really broke through in the 90s. revolutionized the way wrestling was even seen. Hulk Hogan did maybe the biggest, yes, absolutely, the biggest heel turn, becoming a bad guy ever in the history of wrestling. And Hulk Hogan, led by Hulk Hogan, Kevin Nash, and Scott Hall, the NWO for life was created. And it was one of the biggest and most incredible, creative, popular moments in time for professional wrestling, and Scott Hall was a major part of that. He was a great wrestler. He was only 63. He had fallen down and broken his hip. He was going to get a hip replacement. He ended up having a couple of heart attacks, and he died. Now, again, he was only 63 years old. And I have a partial list here of wrestlers who died young. And this is a thing that is common in the wrestling world. Now, granted, over the years, Scott Hall has had many issues with substance abuse, many issues with addiction, the rampant use of things like steroids, and the incredible ease with which wrestlers can get fucking pills at the drop of a hat, with doctors running around and getting them access to pills. The amount of partying, the amount of things that Scott Hall did. I mean, he drank like a fish, took a lot of pills, did a lot of drugs, had a lot of issues in and out of the ring with the law, with personal lives, terrible things that had happened to him domestically. And in fact, he was an addict. There's no question about it. So he died at 63 because of all the damage that he did to his body, not just in the wrestling ring, but personally as an addict. So, there's a lot of reasons why he died at a young age of 63. But I'm just going to go whip through a list here. And this is just a partial list of professional wrestlers who died young. And it's absolutely stunning. I don't think there's any other profession. There is no profession. It's certainly no profession in the entertainment business that has a list of people who died really young, more than professional wrestlers. The amount of professional wrestlers that died at a young age is astonishing. So this is just a partial list, and these are professional wrestlers who died. Chyna was 47 years old when she passed away. The Ultimate Warrior, 54. Randy Savage, 58. Chris Benoit, 40. And to talk about the Chris Benoit situation is just that whole, what happened with Chris Benoit and, what happened to him and what he did to his family, beyond tragic. He was only 40. Miss Elizabeth, 42. Eddie Guerrero, 38. Mr. Perfect, 45. Owen Hart, 34. Andre the Giant, 46. Brian Christopher, 46. The Big Boss Man, 41. Balls Mahoney, 45. Sherry Martel, 49. Mike Awesome, 42. Test, 34. Earthquake Tenta, 43. Nancy Benoit, 43. Big John Studd, 47. Rick Rude, 41. Davey Boy Smith, 40. Yokozuna, 34. Bam Bam Bigelow, 46. Junkyard Dog, 46. Road Warrior Hawk, 46. Brian Pillman, 35. Kerry Von Erich, 33. I mean, the Von Erichs, that's a whole another curse. There's only one Von Erich brother left. All of the other ones died way young. Luna Vachon, 48. Viscera, 43. Chris Candido, 33. Dino Bravo, 45. Brian Adams, 43. Hercules Hernandez, 48. Crash Holly, 32. Brad Armstrong, 51. Peter Maivia, 45. Adrian Adonis, 33. Umaga, 36. Johnny Grunge, 39. Giant Gonzalez, 44. Lance Cade, 29. Chris Canyon, 40. Mariana Kamlos, 35. Moondog Spot, 51. Anthony Durante, 49. Rocco Rock. Big Dick Dudley, 46. And it goes on. The list goes on and on and on and on. And that's just a partial list of people of wrestlers who passed away at a young age. It's just par for the course. These guys and these women, the wrestling profession is not fucking easy. And I don't care, if you're not a wrestling fan, it's fake and blah, 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 it's stupid. All right, whatever. That's your opinion. First of all, it's not fake in terms of what they do. Yes, the story, the actual contests themselves are predetermined. The winner, the professional wrestlers who go into the ring at any given match, they know who's going to win at the end of the match. It's part of a storyline. Yes, it's fictional, but what they do in the ring is real. The kind of stuff that they do to their bodies is real. You can't take bumps like that. It's not fake what these guys are doing, what these women are doing in the ring, the damage that they're doing to their bodies. And the damage that they do to their bodies has an effect on what they and what happens in their later life. Scott Hall, 63 years old, he'd already had different kinds of surgeries. By the time wrestlers are 30, they've had neck surgeries, they've had knee replacements, they've had all kinds of stuff. They put their body on the line every single night. Not only that, but they travel every night. These people are on the road like 350 nights a year. They're on the road 350 nights a year at a different place every night in a different city. And they're wrestling for, like at the beginning of their career, they're wrestling for $25 a night, and they're putting their bodies on the line. If you ever seen the movie The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke, that's an accurate portrayal of what wrestlers do, especially sort of has-been wrestlers who are who are on the road doing shitty places like playing high school gymnasiums and stuff like that. That's where people go. That's where pro wrestlers go after they've had their heyday. And it's sad. It is. And it's not an easy life. They're on the road all the time. They never see their family or friends. And they succumb to partying. They have access to all kinds of drugs. Lots of professional wrestlers have drinking problems and substance abuse issues. And it all multiplies and multiplies and multiplies by being on the road, out partying, working every night, busting up your body. You're in pain. You're taking painkillers. You're taking steroids. It's a rough business. It's a rough business. It's a business that, as you can see by that partial list of young people who died being professional wrestlers for whatever reason. There's a lot of different reasons why those people died. Some were substance abuse. Some were steroid use. Some were, accidents in the ring. Some were things that happened. But I mean, it's just that the odds that you live past 70 as a professional wrestler or a one-time professional wrestler aren't real good. Scott Hall was 63 years old. He was great. He was a legend in the world of professional wrestling, a two-time Hall of Famer in the WWE, incredible in the ring, incredible on the mic, loved by millions and millions, and an incredible heel. And I happen to love the heels. The heels are the bad guys, and I happen to love the heels. And he was great. Scott Hall will always be remembered. It's a tragedy that he died at 63, and yet added to the list of professional wrestlers who pass away at a young age. It's a tough business. And they know it going in. It's not like these young kids, who are like 20, 25, like MJF, who currently I think is the best wrestler in the business, the best heel, the best on the mic. MJF from AEW. He's only 25 years old. He loved wrestling growing up. He's in the business. It's going to be rough for this guy. He's only 25, and he's going to rip up his body, and he's going to at times maybe take drugs. And there was a period of time when steroids usage was huge, and of course steroids, have a horrible effect on somebody's body, especially their heart. People have died because of that. So it's a rough business, and it's a business that I think is fascinating. It's an entertainment that I followed pretty much my whole life. I've interviewed a lot of wrestlers on my show, and I have talked about wrestling, and will talk about wrestling more on my podcast. I think it's fascinating. I think it's entertaining. I love it, but it's also horrible in terms of what people do as wrestlers, women and men do as wrestlers. What they do to their bodies, what they do to their lives, with all the traveling and with all the horrible things that happening and the substance abuse issues. It's a tough life. So yeah. Anyway, Scott Hall was a legend, and he adds, he's only 63 years old, add his name to the incredibly long, insanely long list of pro wrestlers or ex-pro wrestlers who died at a young age. I love wrestling. Again, this goes with the territory. It's really a tough thing. And Scott Hall, rest in peace. Bad times don't last, but bad guys do, as Scott Hall said at his Hall of Fame induction speech. Anyway, 63 years old, he's gone. Razor Ramon, Scott Hall, for life. Anyway, I love wrestling, but man, it's not an easy thing to be a part of. Anyway, rest in peace, Scott Hall.